So hello YouTubers, it's been a while. I'll be working on a 2014 Ford Explorer again. This time we're actually just going to do an oil change. I've not done on this make or model before. I've always had the dealer do it until I started noticing I actually was gaining brake pad life on my brake pads every time I brought it in. So I used to always just trust the dealership to do basic services such as oil changes and inspections. And over the last 2 years, I'm not kidding, every time I take my car in for an oil change, I noticed that they would consistently get my measurements down wrong for brake life, brake pads, and then also tires rotation, which they're supposed to do. So once again, the whole reason doing these videos is just to do stuff more yourself, whether you enjoy it or there's a goal that you're looking out of it. For me, my trust in dealerships keeps decreasing more and more in the work they do and the quality. So in this video, I'm going to be going over how to do an oil change on a 2014 Ford Explorer V6 3.5 liter. What you're going to need for this is a 15 millimeter wrench, and then also I think it was like 6 quarts of oil. I'm looking through the service manual here. Yeah, 6 quarts of oil, 5.7 liters. I'm going to be using a standard filter. This is the Motorcraft oil. I think you can, I don't know if you can see that, but the model number on there is actually Foxtrot Larry-500 at Sierra. It's just a standard Ford oil filter. I'm not a huge fan of it, mostly because of the fact that I hate things that don't actually have the standard like wrench connections at the bottom or some sort of normalized adapter, and you have to use a standard like oil strap to kind of get it around the can to pull it and move it around. That's a personal preference. I just like ones that I can get a normal wrench on it and I don't have to have a secondary special tool that may or may not grab the best. Again, that's personal preference, but that's what I bought. The motor oil I got was, I got 7 liters just because, again, I only need 6, but I got 7. It is a SAE 5-way 20 synthetic blend motor oil. Again, this is by Ford, only because of the fact that, I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of mixing up different oils, and even if you are doing a complete flush, it's still like, why not? And this one was rated with the appropriate stuff in it. So this is a X05 Whiskey 20 Quebec 1 Sierra Papa, or FL5005 model number, if that helps you out. But yeah, this is the one I got. So next one we'll be doing is jacking up the car. I did want to show out a few safety things. So you can see all the way over there on the bottom, I did put some wood blocks behind the rear tires. I did that on both sides. Again, you probably don't need it on both sides. I do it on both sides just because I like, I don't know, safety. I did check the oil already, and this car's oil was, filled to the right level. It's just it was dirty, which is no surprise because I'm at 5,000 miles, so I'm going to be doing that oil change. I do also have these jack stands, which you probably remember from other videos down here on the bottom right. Try to show you. That are kind of cool. They're not just normal jack stands, they're like hydraulic jack stands. So I'll use a normal jack to get the car up, at least in the front, and then I'll put the hydraulic jack stands underneath it, and that way if I need to raise or lower it, I don't have to reinsert the jack. I can just do it on both sides with the individual hydraulic jack stands. These things are more expensive. I don't really see them anymore out there. I don't know what to say about that. I like them. I got 4 of them. They're 3-ton rated. They work great. But again, I mean, you could do it just as easy with a ramp or just normal jacks and an actual jack stand. But I don't know. To me, this saves some issues, especially like when I deal with my wife's car, which is like a Honda Sonata. I'll jack it up in the front, then I'll get these jack stands underneath it, and then if it's still not just right, I don't have to, how do I put this? It's hard enough getting it up, and then once it's on there, you have to kind of re-get the jack stand underneath there and redo it. This, once I've jacked it up and I got these little hydraulic jack stands underneath it, it's done. I can raise and lower it till the cows come home, and the only time I ever need to use the jack again is if I need to raise and lower it either all the way up off the ground to put the jacks in, or all the way down to the ground because I'm done with the work. So that way this thing can be out of the way, and you can use the hydraulic jack stands just to raise and lower as you need, which, like I said, I got 4 of them. I love it. I do it for the front and rear whenever I have to do like my automatic transmission flushes for the rear differential or not. I haven't done a video in a while, I should say. I've been really busy with life, as it were, and as it happens. I kind of miss doing these videos. This is why I wanted to get back into it. We got a wife and kid, so as you can imagine, I don't have a lot of free time, but I do enjoy doing these videos, not only for myself, or to help other people. So yeah, I hope you find these videos informative and they're helpful. And yeah, well, next thing we'll do is we'll actually lower the hood, jack up the car a bit, get it all raised, and then we'll work on opening up the top hole, the inlet for the oil, and then we'll start working underneath and start working on the drain. So I'll talk to you in a bit, and have a good one. Alright guys, so now we got the filter in. What I'm going to do, kind of clean the area off first. I did want to call out, I did check the screw just to see if there's any like wear or tear on the washer or any kind of dents in the ribbons or anything like that. Everything looks good. I mean, it looks, other than it's been used, I got like almost 200,000 miles on this car. It looks good. So what I'm just going to do is just give it another good wipe. Go over it with a towel, get anything off of there, check, make sure there's no other connections or scratches or dents that are worth replacing. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it in. And again, I'm going to try to go counterclockwise. And that's not the right way because I can feel it's not slipping yet. There you go. You heard that? Again, I'm going to keep going so you can hear it one more time. I'm going to be quiet now. There it goes. Now I'm going to start screwing it in the right way, clockwise. And since my hands are getting covered in oil, I'm just going to wipe that real quick. Everything else should be pretty good. Just going to hand tighten until it gets down. I can still feel the engine's warm, even though there's nothing obviously in it, but it's still metal. Alright. And it's now snug. Next I'm going to come back with the 20 foot-pound torque and tighten it down. Alright guys, I didn't mean for this to happen, it was kind of funny. So I was talking about the jack stands in the bottom there, and how it's nice to be able to adjust them if you need to, especially after you remove the jack. Literally I just did this. I actually got the jack in there, or the jack stand in there, jack in there, and started pumping up the car, and I thought I was at a good enough height where I could squeeze underneath it and work, and I pulled the jack out and then was already on the jack stands, and then I tried to go back underneath there after I removed the jack, and sure enough it was too snug. So then I went back there, used the jacks the jacks with the hydraulic option, and then raised it about another, I don't know, 10, maybe about 5 inches, 6 inches, just to get a little bit higher, a little more room, so I didn't have to put the jack back in, or jack in there. So I wanted to share that with you. Next thing I'm gonna do is show you a video from underneath. But before you that, I wanted to show you what I got in the book. I always try to reference the book whenever I do works, or review the what do you call it, the service manuals. For this one, we're doing the V6, and bear with me, I'm gonna try to look at this while talking to you guys while showing you at the same time here. So on this one, we're doing the V6, and I don't know if you can see this, it's on the left side here. What we're really focusing on is this leftern quadrant, I guess you'd say, or western quadrant. It's hard to see this while on the side. And notice number 1 right there, if you can see that. Number 1 is actually the oil filter, and then directly behind it is the oil plug. We'll talk about that more once we get down there, but the first thing I want to call out is that we do need to torque that to spec. That's 20 foot-pounds. I haven't seen anyone else actually ever call that out, which I thought that was interesting. They do recommend that this actually be, what do you call this, drained on a flat surface. Obviously, you look at the car, it's not going to be flat because it's raised. But if you look at the orientation of the drain plug in the back and the lower rear quadrant, if the car is elevated from the front, it's just going to go straight out the back. So again, just letting you know, full consent, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. Not 100% correct. If you read the admin guide, basically does qualify as saying that you should be doing this on a flat level surface. It's going to be inclined in the front while I'm training. I could lower it and raise it again, but I mean, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But yeah, just keep focus on to where the oil filter is and the drain plug. It's really just a straight shoot. And I just call that out because once you get underneath, it's hard to figure out engine orientation where it is right away, unless you do a lot of work on your car, where then obviously it would be. So next I'll show you underneath where the oil filter is, and I'll show you the drain plug. Remember, they'll need to be torqued down to 20 foot-pounds, and we'll get to that later. So. Alright guys, this might be a little disorienting, so I'm going to try to do my best to give you a walkthrough. So you're facing the front of the vehicle, you're in the lower part. We're going to go see. I kind of like shuffle my body around. And I did try to get as much light in here as I could so you guys can see as best as possible. Got a lot of light under here and it still doesn't seem like enough. I'll show you. I've got light in the corner, light down below. I got that light as well, so it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, first thing you're gonna see is the oil filter. That's right there in the front, like we're talking about in orientation. It's gonna be straight, right back to the oil plug. It's gonna be right here, which you can just barely see from this point of view. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this around, and that way you can see it from the other side. Just gonna be a little awkward. Let's see, how's that look? Yeah, so right there is the oil filter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna muck with that next. That's gonna be basically try to drain. So give me a few minutes to set up and we'll start on that next. One other thing I forgot to say before we actually get to the drain plug is actually I always like to actually open the oil filter, I'm sorry, the oil cap from the top and just set it aside, right? That allows like airflow to come through, and I find it allows it to drain a lot faster, easier, better, whatever your choice of words are. So now that we've opened that, we'll go down below and actually go ahead and start removing the drain plug. Alright guys, so I'm underneath the car, we're looking at the drain plug. I've got my oil catcher here, oil tray, drip pan. I do want to call out for mine. I'm using a 15mm wrench. I tried getting it in there and then just trying to hit it at, what do you want to call it, at counterclockwise to loosen the nut. I'm sorry, the screw. And it was just on hard. So I did end up using a rubber mallet, and it's a little concerning when it's only supposed to be down 20 foot-pounds and it was that tight. But again, I doubt anyone from the dealership did it to torque spec. So I just wanted to call that out. Second piece is now we've already let the car run before. That was one of the key requirements, is letting it run warm for a bit so that we'd actually be warm, the oil, and it'll help it drain better. We did already open the drain fill from above. I did check the oil levels before the video, which I probably should have done during the video, and basically saw that our oil levels are good. So we're expecting about 6 quarts of oil out of this thing. So I'm thinking we're probably gonna see about 6 quarts of oil since the levels are good. Next thing I'm gonna do is just actually keep loosening this. I got it a little loose before just to make sure that we didn't have any problems like that. So now it's already kind of loose. I should be able to do the rest by hand. Almost by hand. All right, she's pretty loose now. And this is the fun part, trying to orientate yourself around the cameras, around the light, around the drip pan. And we're gonna try to do this as fast as we can. I always have spare rags nearby. I'm like a paper towel junkie, you'll find out. Just because I know if there's a way to make a mess, I'll find a way. So let's see what we get here. I'm actually pushing in while I'm unscrewing. That way I can keep tension on this until I can feel the threads actually coming loose. And then once I know it's loose, I'll just pull my hand away and we'll watch it drop. Okay, I think, wait for that thread to hit and miss. And of course my glove got stuck. I think we are there. So I'm gonna try to pull it out. Let's see if this works. Otherwise this might be a little bit messy if I'm wrong. All right, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Not too bad actually. So what I'm going to do is clean up myself here a bit, clean up the screw, you can hear it draining, clean up my oil slip mess all over the floor, which isn't that bad, it's just a few drops, but whatever, I'm cleaning it up. Always have paper towels in a trash can nearby, so I'm going to grab those and let this thing drain for a few minutes. And you see how black it is. Yeah, I don't know. Particularly the levels, it's pretty dark. I don't know if you see that, but again, that's why we're doing it. Not a big deal. So let that go, and once it's done, we'll continue on. All right, guys. Like I was saying before when we started the video about the oil filter, I hate these ones that either require the strap or be done by hand. I like ones that you can put a tool around, like a socket wrench or something, like the 15mm we use to undo the drain plug in the rear back there. So I really struggled with getting this loose. I tried using my hands just with normal latex gloves. I couldn't do it. The strap I have wouldn't fit for this, so that's on me. So then I tried using thick rubber gloves, which I use for, you know, heavier work. It got it moving a very little, and then finally I had to go to the good old crescent wrench and just basically get whatever I could on there and just start twisting. So again, just to be aware, depending on how tight it is on there and if it's also melted on there or whatever, you may struggle with getting it off. Highly recommend going with a different type of filter, make your life easier going forward. You can always buy an oil filter strap. Going forward, I know I will be buying different filters. That way I can use just a standard wrench on it and, you know, be done with it, or a socket. Either works, or a 1/2 inch socket. So this thing's slowly draining out. It's pretty much at the end. I'm gonna try to remove the filter now for you. Shouldn't be too bad considering we got most of the oil already out and the top's already open. So we'll see how she turns out. So here we go. I got it already loose. Again, as I'm loosening this, I'm actually pushing on it. So there shouldn't allow, how do I put this, a lot of liquid coming out. Yep, unless you do something like that. And it's still coming, and I'm pushing, and it's still draining. And this is still warm, just FYI. Yeah, is what it is. I don't know what to say. I thought it was going to be a little bit more effective on this one, but this is just, is what it is. Yeah, she's just not coming off easy. Alright, just keep going. You realize you might get a little dirty here as part of the job. Alright, she is still not, there we go. Alright, drain the rest out. Try to minimize your mess as much as you can. Check for, I don't know if you can see this, but checking to make sure that original oil filter rubber gasket is still there. That's important. We want to make sure it's not above. We'll double check that again once this is done, but for now I'm just pointing that out. I'm trying to get out as much as oil I can before I toss the filter out. And this thing is soaked. Alright, one sec. I'll put this over here next to the clean one. And again, this is why I always keep a towel underneath, because I know I make messes. Alright, next up, since we actually removed the oil filter, I'm not sure if you can get a good angle on that. Hold on, let me see if I can get you around. You can see it better. Let's see if you can see that. And bring that over too, maybe that'll help. It's all about angles and lighting, right? Alright, there we go. So you can see the oil filter here. There's no rubber gasket. It's actually slowed down a lot, unfortunately, compared to the drain filter, which kind of makes sense. I'm sorry, that's the drain filter, the drain plug. Drain plug is on the end there. Try to see if I can get you a better angle on it. Right there. It's still dripping a lot more. So we'll do replacing the oil filter first, because I think that's going to be the most easy to get to, and also it's dripping. See if you got a good angle on that. Yeah, right there. Perfect. All right. So like I told you before, the most important thing is before you replace the oil filter, check for the rubber gasket. We checked there, it's good. We removed the old one, it came out the other one. Lubricate the new one around the edges, and then we're just gonna go ahead and put that in there and start screwing it on. Now, usually what I always do is I counter screw until I can feel it slip, or you hear a kind of a snap. I'll go slow, see if you can hear it, and I'll stop talking. Right there. Hold on, I'll do it again. Kind of trying to feel it shimmer a bit. There it goes. Okay. So once it bounces a little bit, you know you're on the thread and you just popped off of it, then you just go back the right way. So I'm just gonna put it in there snug for now. Let it sit there for a sec, get the oil off my hands, clean the filter up, clean the area. Oh, by the way, I did check the oil while it was coming out. I should have called that out earlier. It was warm, which is my biggest concern. I was worried between video recording, stopping, starting, etc., whether or not the oil would still be warm, which is obviously optimal when you remove this stuff, when you remove the oil for the car. I'm just gonna hand tighten it for now. I'm gonna get it as tight as I can with the latex, and then bear with me here. We're gonna seem a little corny. But then I'm gonna put on these suckers, thicker rubber gloves. He's got a lot better grip, and you can see the difference. I mean, as it'll go another whole 3/4. And actually, like I said before, with these, I was actually able to already loosen it. It was just really slow. I still recommend getting bear with me, a filter that has like either the filter that has strap so you can go around it. I don't like those personally. Again, I never feel like they have a really good grip. If you can, just buy an upgraded one, and I'm pretty sure it was K&N I saw, or there's another model out there. Most models I thought I saw had this, where you can actually have like a little socket where you can put a 1/2-inch socket in there, and you can get in there, just tighten it down, or you can get a wrench on it, tighten it down. So you don't need specialty tools. You got more flexibility. It's more common to work on. So for now, I'm gonna just try this by hand, and I'll come back later and check it. Just get it really snug. Yeah, that sucker's not coming off. Yeah, that's staying on. And then later what I'll do is I'll come back and use a oil filter wrench on it, or socket on it. All right, now we'll move to the drain plug. All right, guys, so now we got the filter in. What I'm gonna do, kind of clean the area off first. I did want to call out, I did check the screw just to see if there's any like wear or tear on the washer, or any kind of dents in the ribbons or anything like that. Everything looks good. I mean, it looks, other than it's been used, I got like almost 200,000 miles on this car. It looks good. So what I'm just gonna do is just give it another good wipe. Go over it with a towel, get anything off of there, check, make sure there's no other connections or scratches or dents that are worth replacing. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. And again, I'm gonna try to go counterclockwise. And that's not the right way, because I can feel it's not slipping yet. There you go, you heard that? Again, I'm gonna keep going so you can hear it one more time. I'm gonna be quiet now. There it goes. Now I'm gonna start screwing it in the right way, clockwise. And since my hands are getting covered in oil, I'm just gonna wipe that real quick. Everything else should be pretty good. Just gonna hand tight until it gets down. I can still feel the engine's warm, even though there's nothing obviously in it, but it's still metal. All right. And it's now snug. Next, I'm gonna come back with the 20 foot-pound torque and tighten it down. Alright guys, so funny point, I was in the middle of the conversation talking to you about the bolt, and right as I was doing it I ran out of battery. So what I was going to say was this is up to personal preference. Some people like to use torque wrenches, like I got right here. Some people don't. I will tell you, I've had pros and cons with them. I've actually torqued down an Acura 2006 MDX. I think it was a water pump at the time. I can't remember. It was an oil pump. But anyways, while I was torquing it down to spec using a torque, it basically, I couldn't feel how the screw was going in and all that stuff, because it's, you know, such an awkward tool to use compared to a wrench per se. And basically, I didn't realize it, but the screw itself was actually worn abnormally in the middle. So as I was torquing it down, it actually snapped off inside the engine block, and that was another project I did. I had to troubleshoot, which was fun. So I guess what I'm saying is, you know, if you're worried, if you're new to cars and you don't do, you know, you're not really comfortable with how it feels to what's to torque to spec, or, you know, what feels like good, or not wanting to over torque, buying torque wrenches, great. I can't say negative things about them. Like I said, everyone's gonna have good, bad experiences. The one thing I'm gonna say is, you know, this time I was gonna do it. I didn't call it out as a tool, so again, it's personal preference, but I'm gonna use it now just because. So I got it set to 20 foot-pounds. I got the angle, and I'm gonna go ahead and proceed to tighten, and we'll see what we get. I don't have a lot of room here, which arguably made me another reason why not to use one. Alright, so here we're already there. Oh, you hear it? Hold on. You can hear it already snapping. I'm just seeing if it's giving me more play. So there it is. I'm gonna get my hand off the bar. Hear that? Click, click. So, yeah, we're already there. We're at 20 foot-pounds. I'm gonna call that good. Definitely not over torqued as crazy as much as the dealer did. That was crazy. I couldn't even get it off with a rubber mallet. So now we actually have the drain, excuse me, drain plug sealed, tightened, torqued spec. We've got the filter on. I went over it again actually when I was off tightening it down using another tool I had, so I was actually able to get that really tight. Again, I still recommend one that you can use a normal wrench, like a socket wrench, like a 1/2 inch or something, or normal wrench, whatever. Just something so you can get it on there and you can make sure it's tightened down all the way. You don't want that coming loose. Yeah, so next what we'll do is we'll move to the top, and we'll actually start working on adding our 6 quarts of oil. So one funny thing I want to share with you guys is it's funny to me at least how it takes, you know, like 5 or 10 minutes between shots just to kind of set everything up so you guys get good lighting, good visibility, a tripod doesn't fall on his face holding the camera, etc. So now we're gonna start at the top. We're gonna work on filling it. I do have 2 different sizes here. Let's see, I'm not sure well you can see this from there, but I've got the 1 quart, which we're gonna use to get us the 6th quart to hit our limit. And then the other one I bought online was this boy. I didn't show this, I don't believe, before. And this is the 5 quart. So we'll start with the 5 quart for obvious reasons, because I'd rather finish this off than have some left in this and transport it to another 1 quart. So what I'll do next is I'm gonna get this set up and ready, and then we'll pour that into here, and we'll be good to go. So what I wanted to show you, and hopefully you can see that pretty well, is basically I just dipped my finger in the new oil, and it's like, I mean, it's got a little yellow tint to it, you're right, but I mean, it's not, I mean, it's pretty much clear. I just wanted to show that to you so you can see the difference between like having used oil, right, which was what we took out of the system, which versus brand new. Because I mean, it's, again, I'm hoping I'm getting you guys good lighting. I got 2 different lights on, one in the back and one this big one. But yeah, it's pretty much essentially almost clear with just a slight yellow tint compared to the black. Actually, here, I'll show you again. The black that we pulled out, right? So the black was just black. I mean, there's really no differentiating that, right? So again, just wanted to show you that difference. All right, guys, so here we go. We're gonna start with the 5 quart. We're gonna slowly pour it in. Make sure it's firmly seated, which I'm looking at mine, it is. It's got about maybe a ½ inch sitting inside of the actual engine. So I'm gonna go very slow as I can. Try to not make a mess, and then feel it go a little faster just so it doesn't come back on it. I'm looking underneath the funnel to see if I see any overflow. Now again, this thing's gonna take 6 quarts, so as long as I'm not overfilling it too fast, there shouldn't be any concern. But so far, it looks so good. I'm gonna slow it up a bit because you can see how it's coming out. It's kind of bouncing a bit. There we go. Now it's a little bit more of a steady stream. And again, I'm looking at the funnel, looking for signs of leakage to know I'm pouring in too much too fast. Seems to be doing well, so again, I'm gonna try to go a little faster. I think we're about halfway through right now. I'm guesstimating here. So far, no signs of leakage. I'm gonna slow it up for a sec, just give it a moment to breathe. About maybe a quarter of the way left. Oh, now I'm starting to see a little bit backing up underneath the funnel. Might be because we're actually getting it close to full. Obviously not 6 quarts full, but you know what I mean. Okay, probably about 1/6 of the way left. Try not to go too fast, but go fast enough. Tilt it. I'm just going to set it there for a sec. See if I can flip this around so I can kind of sit in a logical fashion. There we go. How about that? Let that sit for a sec. Alright, I'm going to let that sit just for a minute, drain, and then I'm going to move to the next one. Alright guys, as I was getting ready to pour in the 6th one, it totally occurred to me I should probably check the fluid levels. My bad. So what I did is I stopped after the 5th quart. Again, this should need 6 quarts. We're going to actually pull out the dipstick, which hopefully you can see where left hand is. There's a yellow dipstick here. You just pull on it. I always keep towels nearby if you haven't noticed. Kind of a towel junkie. For me, I use them to mark where I'm at. Like meaning if I have tools left out or if I go out to put something down on something dirty. So I kind of use a lot of towels when I work. But anyways, so first thing I'm going to do is pull it out. I'm just actually going to go through and clean the dipstick. Hopefully not smack the camera and knock it down. Basically because, you know, it's every 5,000 to 7,000 miles or years depending on how your driving habits are. I drive this car crazy. You know, we don't drive my wife's car much. So first thing I'm doing is just going over it. Just trying to make sure I get all the, if any gunk or anything that might have built up over time, or any check for any sharp metal surfaces that could latch and maybe, you know, break down or fall into the engine, right? So everything looks clean, surface is clean, wiped it down with a paper towel, I feel pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it back in there. It's kind of hard to see at this angle. I'm going to get another light in there. Just going to shove it in. Try not to knock my filter over. Try not to block you guys. Put it in, pull it back out. Use a paper towel to collect and see where it's at. So it looks like it's sitting right now a little bit, I mean, it's actually not bad. I mean, if you look at it closely, it's actually almost right where we want it. Give me a second here. Yeah, because I haven't ran the edge and the rest of the blade's actually pretty clean, so this isn't too bad. So it looked like it was about right to there, right near the top, which is right where we want. But again, we're at 5 quarts, we want to go to 6. So we're going to do it again. Go back down, push it in all the way, pull it back out, try to collect it, try not to interfere. Yeah, so it looks like, if you can see that at all, it looks like a majority of it's on the lower half, but it is there. So I'm going to add 1 more quart and we'll check it again. Because again, that's what the service manual says, 6 quarts. And I guess honestly I'll find out for sure what was in it when I actually take everything out and put it back into the same containers, right? So I'm going to put it back in there during fill. It's going to make it a little messy, but it is what it is. And now we're going to move to the next one. So this is the last quart. I already loosened, got everything ready to go. So here we go. Now again, make sure your funnel's not going to fall around, your gloves aren't too slippery, yada yada yada. And start filling. Check for leaks. Look for overflow, right? Especially if you're wrong and you miscount and you go into like 8 quarts or something crazy. Alright, that's good. I'm going to let that sit there for a sec and drain the rest of the way. Give that a minute. Be right back and we'll check the dipstick. Alright guys, I got that to drain all the way, so we're going to move to round 2, or 3 or 4, I forget which rounds we're on. First thing I'm going to do is, again, because I added fluid, might have splashed up on the dipstick, I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down 1 more time. Try to make sure it's clean. Which again, since I already did it previously, there shouldn't be much on there, just the new fluid on there, so it should come off really easy. But again, I'm kind of an OCD person if you haven't noticed. So that looks pretty good, looks pretty clean. Now we're going to stick it back in. Seat it all the way, pull it back out. Try not to rub it on anything. Yeah, that looks really good. So I can see actually it looks a little higher on the right side than the left, probably the way I pulled the dipstick out, but the level looks good. I'm going to do it 1 more time just because I want to just triple check, right? Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right. Try to come up straight. Yeah. Yeah, you can see where it's at. It looks pretty good. Looks like it's actually right on the spot. All right. Cool, so I'm going to call it good. I don't know why I'm wiping it down. I'm just going to shove it back in because I'm not going to measure it again. So what I'm going to do next is actually I'm going to go ahead, clean up this area a bit, which is going to take like 4 whole seconds, right? Hold your breath. I did also go around, whenever I'm working, I always clean along the way. So I wiped this down earlier pretty good. Let's see if I can get a little bit of oil in there. Wipe around the base of the cap. That I did not do. I just cleaned the what do you call it, the middle piece, the insides and the threadings. So it's pretty good already, but again, I just a little OCD. And I'm gonna go, here's the concern, right? Go around the outside, be very careful, try not to get it in the engine. I'm probably sure about 50 people right now are cringing because I'm even doing this. I don't even like doing this, but again, I don't know. Just as long as you're careful, it's fine. Just be careful. Try not to get it in the engine. And you can see how dirty it is. So, all right, now I'm just gonna put the cap back on. Usually sits in at around half, yeah. And then twists all the way to 90 degrees and it's locked. So there we go. Let's see, what should I do next? So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna actually finish cleaning up here, close the hood. Now I can leave it open. And I'm gonna reset up and then I'm gonna actually try to start the engine and we'll see how she does. So a couple last things. What I did is I actually put up some towels down below here. I'm not sure how you can see them. Let's see if I get some light in there. If that's any better. Basically, I use, I told you I'm kind of obsessed when it comes to towels. My goal is hopefully if there is any leaks, they're going to absorb on the towel, which will be easier to see than the concrete. So anyways, just to let you know I did that. I tightened it up on the top for the inlets, made sure the fuel stick was down all the way. Oh, I'm sorry, the oil stick. Still have the car elevated. We'll turn it on, we'll test it, we'll see if we get any indicator lights or concerns. And if everything goes well, we'll move to the next piece. Alright guys, so let's see, what did I do? I cleaned up a little bit, made sure the caps were sealed, checked underneath, made sure the paper towels were laid out in a proper spot so you can see how they work or make sure they're going to drip properly. I then proceeded to start the car, let it run for 1 to 2 minutes. Again, this is all out of the service manual, so there that I read to you and showed you earlier. It kind of walks you through the procedure. Check the dipstick, which I'll do again with you now, and we're like right at the top, so we're perfect. It's actually even easier to read now that we ran it a couple times, or I ran it a couple times. So let me go to that next before I say anything more about what I found and what else I have thoughts on. Oh, I do want to call out before I check this. When I went underneath and put the paper towels, I noticed there was still oil residue on the engine block from changing the filter and also releasing the drain plug. Based on that, I did take some CRC brake cleaner, which again, there's other products out there, but I like brake cleaner. I just sprayed all over it, and you can't smell it obviously, but it's a little strong, and I did open the garage for a bit to kind of get that ventilation out, but it kind of removes the oil off there so you won't smell burning oil down the road, or at least in theory you won't. So that's just another good idea if you're going to do this. Maybe if you have a leak, feel free to spray some brake cleaner on there, clean that up, wipe it down, etc. So I'm going to move next to the dipstick. There we go. Like I said, finding good positions is extremely difficult. Give me a second here. Alright, round 2. Don't breathe. Alright, so I got the lighting the best I could. Again, I got the GoPro held up as best I can. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the dipstick. First time, like I said, I always kind of wipe it. Again, probably don't have to, per se. I like to get a clean regimen, especially if the engine's been running, but I already did this before, so I already know it's good, but whatever. Best practice, right? Now I'm going to put it back in. Push it flush, pull it back out. I'll try to show it to you as fast as I can because I already checked it earlier. So hopefully you can see that it's actually like perfect. It's like maybe a 1/4 of an inch right off the top of that line. So it's good. No complaints there. I did run the engine for, this says a minute. I ran it for like 5 because whenever I have the car up on blocks is I take a time to do an inspection on the car. That's what I was telling you or alluding to earlier that I said I found some other things. So I'll try to show you those next here in a sec after I get this cleaned up and put back in. But I don't know what to say. Life of a Ford owner, it seems like you're never done. So yeah, let me clean up this. It's pretty much done. I mean, I already tested, ran it. I let it run for a while, so I feel good. I found a couple of things below, non-related, but I'll point them out to you. No, I won't. But anyways, just be aware. Look around your car. Check for control arms that might be weak or loose, or rubber bushings that are kind of failed or showing, or struts or shocks that may have like the rubber gasket or boots that are supposed to be protecting it gone or worn out. Just look, right? I mean, that's really what it's going to do. I mean, like I said, for me, I was trying to be lazy. I was trying to, let Ford, when they did their oil changes every 5,000 miles, 7,000 miles, it's every 5 for me religiously, but again, you supposedly go to 7,500. I would always try to trust them with that, and then unfortunately, they kind of lost my trust over time when they repeatedly failed to do qualified inspections regarding your brake pads, which are one of probably arguably most concerning things out there, not being able to stop. And then other things where they said they checked my tire pressure, and I kid you not, 2 weeks later, my tire pressure was lower, like way low. Like it just, I was like, I had to add air pressure, which I thought was funny because they checked, it shouldn't have been an issue. And I did verify for leaks, nails, punctures, or anything like that. I just had to take it to another place, get it filled up. I think it was like Costco, because that's where I bought my tires. And haven't had any problems since. So again, if you're like me, you try to do all your major services yourself, save money, or just for fun. I know I'm kind of weird like that. I like to do this stuff actually for fun. Then, that's great. I always like to trust the dealerships to do more of a qualified inspection. Again, I thought that's kind of what they do when they do the oil change, or so they tell me. But noticing the repeated misses, gaining brake pad life, and then not catching the air pressure, and I was way below level when my PSIs are supposed to be. I know they're not doing their job, or they're just not recording accurately, which again to me is not doing their job. So I had to make a choice. So yeah. Anyways, now I'm just gonna go ahead and just do my oil changes. They're really easy to do. I mean, I think this took me about 2 hours, maybe 3 to set up. I have to move some stuff to get clear access. You know, and then I'm also recording, right, which takes a while longer. But yeah, otherwise it's really not hard. You know, you kind of saw the steps. I mean, it's probably gonna turn into like a 15-minute video minus the 3 hours of recording, moving, touching, cleaning, and organizing that I spent. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Again, I'm not a qualified, or I'm sorry, I'm not a licensed mechanic. I've just been working on cars on and off for 20 years as a hobby for fun. I don't know, I enjoy it. I'm a tinkerer. You can probably see my motorcycle in the back somewhere there. I just like to play. So this is my stuff. I'm trying to share knowledge with you guys. Please don't get offended by it if I miss something. Please feel free to call it out, hopefully in a respectful mannerism. Again, I'm doing this for free to help people out and, you know, educate, right? And I couldn't find other videos that were kind of covering the same detail or referenced service manuals, which I thought was hilarious. Because to me, you know, there's what you believe, and then there's what you read, right? And there's also life, right? Which it doesn't always reflect. But I like to start off with a service manual because to me that's based off what the manufacturer says you should do, down to OEM part number, specs, and everything. And then how it relates to the vehicle may require adjustment. But there are a lot of videos I saw out there where people are just, you know, hey, just do this, tighten this, throw this in. And I saw a couple that where the oil wasn't actually even the right specs. I was surprised too. I did research. And you actually see it here. One of the videos I watched, they actually put 5-weight 30. It did say 5-weight 20. 5-weight 30 is my prefer because of the heat and coolness levels. I even had to call Ford twice to directly to ask them, why do I have to put 5-weight 20 in? Why can't I put 5-weight 30 in? And literally it also says in the service manual, which is why I knew it also, it says because of the V6 non-turbos, they do specifically require the 5-weight 20. And again, I've always understood the weight of the oil to determine based on not only necessarily the engine, but more specifically about the temperature specs you need it to be within range. So being told, yes, put 5-weight 20 in, otherwise you could actually damage your engine, you know, it's Ford, I don't know, believe what you want, but I follow that spec. And again, I'm just calling it out because people I saw online, they did throw 5-weight 30. I'm not saying it's going to blow up your engine or anything like that, but again, you gotta, I like to reference what the service manual does. When in doubt, I call the dealerships, and then I go through best effort with you guys and trying to make this a qualified video and hopefully, you know, give you as much information as I learned along the way and call out mistakes or things I fix. So again, hope this video is helpful for you guys. If you like it, please like it. I do this to help you guys out, and if you do leave comments, please leave kind comments. Again, you know, I'm not a licensed mechanic. I do this to help people out, so please don't be an a-hole. Otherwise, have a good one, guys. Bye.